Some more Alexa Bliss Wyatt Sicks related theories are going around, so we'll dive into what's new there. We'll also check out what's going on with the New Day, Damage CTRL, and more. Starting things off with Damage CTRL. After yet again another underwhelming week, full of more losses and disappointments, Iyo Sky told the group for a second week in a row that things with the group has to change, or she'll be forced to change it herself. So they're continuing to tease some sort of makeover and new look for the Damage CTRL faction. They're obviously nowhere near the levels of dominant as they once were just a few months back, at the beginning of the year. And that's starting to bother Iyo Sky. Iyo may not be feeling good about Damage CTRL as a group, but she has to be feeling pretty good individually because she did just qualify for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, so she has that going for her. She has the opportunity to be the first woman to win the Money in the Bank contract in back-to-back years. But assuming that she doesn't win the Money in the Bank contract and maybe comes up short due to a Damage CTRL related reason or mishap, a situation like that would absolutely blow the lid off Iyo's current frustration. And that's when we can finally see this change that she's talking about. It doesn't appear to make a lot of sense for Iyo to kick one of the members out because that'll only make the group weaker. So when she keeps talking about change, it seems like the most logical direction would be an addition to the group. Iyo probably has her eyes on someone in the Raw women's division that she would like to bring into Damage CTRL. Iyo was responsible for bringing in Kairi Sane and Asuka into the group, so bringing in members isn't new to her at all. We'll see what changes Iyo brings to the group. The New Day has been together and united for an entire decade at this point, and unlike most groups, they've never feuded with each other or gone through any breakups or tensions at all. The only time the group was softly split up was due to the draft where Big E was picked up as a single star, while Kofi and Xavier were drafted as a separate tag team selection. But outside of that, the New Day has never had any splits or issues between each other at all. But it looks like now, 10 years after their debut, we're starting to see the first apparent cracks and hints at a split. The New Day is feuding with the Final Testament, and so far, it looks like Karrion Kross is being a bit successful with his goals of causing a divide amongst the New Day. In a backstage segment with Kofi and Xavier addressing Kross, Kofi ends up cutting Xavier Woods off several times and barely lets Xavier get a word in. There's even a point where Xavier looks at Kofi side-eyed and basically in disbelief for how he keeps cutting him off. Karrion Kross took to Twitter to point out the cracks and highlight how Kofi was hogging the spotlight from Xavier. And this could be the narrative that Kross continues to drive home. Maybe he'll double down on how Kofi feels, like he's better than Xavier, since he's a former WWE champion and Xavier is not. Kross absolutely seems like the type to instigate things with narratives like that. Another cool direction to counter all the success Kross has been having with dividing the New Day would be for Big E to make a return to WWE television. Obviously not a return in a competing role, but a return role for him to talk some sense into Kofi and Xavier and get them fully back on the same page and remind them about the unity of the team. Big E may be the big missing part that will put Kofi and Xavier even closer together and stop the split. Fans are very high on the assumption that Alexa Bliss will join the Wyatt Sicks down the line. There's already so many things in place that seems to make sense for her to join, such as her 2022 and 23 history with Uncle Howdy having a heavy influence over her, and also the fact that her longtime friend and tag team partner, Nikki Cross, is already there waiting for her in the group. But how could Alexa's reintroduction be handled? Well, there's two very fun directions that they could go in here. The first one being that Alexa Bliss has to be saved by Uncle Howdy. Alexa had to vanish for a bit from WWE, in reality due to her pregnancy, but strictly speaking of the Alexa Bliss character, they can come up with a whole other reason why she's been missing lately. Right before Bray, Howdy, and Alexa disappeared in early 2023, there was a small subplot in one of the final Firefly Funhouse episodes that made it seem like a woman was stuck somewhere in the funhouse and screaming for help. So how crazy would it be that if Alexa isn't in the Wyatt Sicks right now because she's either stuck in the funhouse or stuck somewhere else within the Bray Wyatt universe and desperately needs help? If Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks end up rescuing Alexa from wherever she's at, she'll really owe them a lot, and that would give her more reason and motivation to join their cause. The other route for Alexa's Wyatt Sicks introduction is the idea of Alexa being the very quiet and hidden leader of the entire operation. With Bray no longer there, everyone is automatically looking at Uncle Howdy as the clear leader, and understandably so. But what if the big twist is that Alexa Bliss is calling the shots? Alexa may have just entered Bray Wyatt's world in 2020, but she quickly became a very important and powerful character within the universe in no time. Alexa had a deep bond with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. We also can't forget that it was Alexa who single-handedly brought The Fiend back and revived him using all of her dark ways. So within Bray's universe, Alexa has a very strong touch and influence over everything. So if it turns out that she's the current mastermind behind this operation and only reveals herself when she's absolutely needed, that could be a pretty intriguing twist. And it would also explain and cover up the plot hole of why Alexa wasn't part of the group from the beginning. Something like that would show and explain that Alexa Bliss was pretty much there the whole entire time. We just didn't know it. It's been highly reported that the Wyatt Sicks will get new members as time goes on, so we got to keep assuming that Alexa's one of those new members. As far as the other Wyatt Sicks related matters go, Pat McAfee had his show hijacked this week in the closing moments of the show. Everyone on set could be seen looking around and discussing security matters, and the screen just cuts to black immediately. Although they weren't physically shown at all, it seems that the heavy implication was that the Wyatt Sicks arrived at Pat McAfee's studio and did something unknown to them. So if Pat McAfee is missing from commentary in the coming weeks, or even if he still is there but acting a bit different and strange, this attack could be the reason behind it. It really does build up even more hype and mystique around the Wyatt Sicks, because it shows that they're not just limited to Raw. They're here to wreak havoc on all WWE programming, and even havoc on technically non-WWE programming as well. So that's huge, and makes it feel like they can truly strike at any time, any place. So their story will continue to be very exciting to follow. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.